Good evening, and welcome to a brand new episode of Bobcat Blitz. I'm your gracious host, Gary Gurecki, and alongside me are some of the smartest sports minds Quinnipiac has to offer. So let's go around and meet them. Why don't you start us off?
Hey, my name's Thomas Albanese. Fourth time on the show this semester. I'm just looking forward to having a nice fun night tonight.
And next to you?
I'm Jake Loskant. First time ever on the show. I'm hoping to get a good win off this one.
And over here?
Arthur Lane. This is my third time on the show, and happy to be back.
Giovanni Mio, broadcast journalism major, sophomore. Let's get it going.
Super. In the spirit of debate, let's get right into it. Now, we got a Game 7 that's going to throw its first pitch around 8 o'clock tonight, and the person who wins that's going to go on to the World Series. I need you guys to tell me who's winning this game, the Cards or the San Fran Giants. Tom?
Well, it's going to definitely be a very tough one because both of these teams have been unbelievable in the past 2 years. Of course, the Giants were in the World Series in 2010, the Cardinals last year as well. And both of these teams play well under pressure. The Cardinals have won 6 straight elimination games, and the Giants have won 5 straight elimination games this postseason as they beat the Reds 3 straight, and now they just beat the Cardinals 2 straight. So it's going to be a tough one, but I'm going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals in this one because I like the pitching matchup in the favor of Matt Loesch tonight against Matt Cain, and I think it's going to be a good matchup, and I think the Cardinals are going to surprise the Giants and beat them to go back to try to repeat their title this year.
Okay, Jake?
You know, it's one word that comes to mind for me. It's experience, and the one that has experienced the most is St. Louis Cardinals. You know, you look at the past 5 postseason Game 7 games, experiences right now is whoever has the most experience, and that's the Cardinals at the moment. You know, you have Loesch pitching tonight, and then you have Wainwright coming in as well. So that could also be a big favor to them. Holiday and Beltran in the lineup, another big lineup, big thing for them. So you know what? I'm going to have to go with the Cardinals with this one, just on one word, experience.
Okay. Gio?
While the Giants are 5-0 in their past postseason elimination games, the Cardinals are 6-0 and are the reigning world champions. So I'm going to go with St. Louis. And Tom, it is Kyle Loesch who's starting for the St. Louis Cardinals tonight in his contract year with an ERA of 2.5 this postseason. And going for the Giants is Matt Cain, who's got an ERA of 4.6. So he's being paid to be the ace, but unfortunately, he's not pitching like the ace we know. And as well, the Giants might be 11-1 with runs scored their past 2 games, but we know how stingent their offense is. Even though Hunter Pence looks pretty good right now, when you got a lineup of Carlos Beltran and Matt Holliday, that's pretty scary. And one more thing I want to point out you guys didn't mention. The St. Louis Cardinals have a pretty fresh bullpen. Jason Myers hasn't pitched in a few days, the Cardinals closer, while you've seen Jeremy Affel and Sergio Romo been pitching consistently. And even though the Giants might have Tim Lincecum coming out of the bullpen, Adam Wainwright, 20-game winner a few years ago, being consistent. So I'm going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals.
All right.
I'm going to go against everyone here. I'm going to pick the San Francisco Giants to take this one. We talk experience. They won the World Series not too long ago as well. I just think that they're a very resilient team. Like we said, 5-0 this season in elimination games. So I think they really get it done. They've looked good. Matt Cain's been struggling, but I really do think he turns it around tonight. He's a big game guy. This is a big game. It's as big as it gets this season. So I'm going to go with the Giants in this one.
All right. Well, looks like most of you were on the Cards. Gio seemed to have the best answer in my opinion, so I'm going to give him first. And then Art, I'm going to give you and your originality second. And Tom, I'll give you third. And Jake fourth. Switching gears here, Lance Armstrong was recently stripped of all of his Tour de France titles. I mean, it really seems like they've taken everything away from him, what he really had left. He's also been taken off of his Nike sponsorship, and he's also distanced himself from his own organization, Live Strong, which has gone on to do a lot of really good things. I need you guys to let me know, did the cycling committee make the right decision in stripping Lance of all of his titles? Gio?
Well, I do think that if you use steroids for a sport to enhance your performance, you should be banned. I think in this scenario, it's the one situation where I think he should not be stripped of all his titles because minus Lance Armstrong, the past 2 Tour de France winners were Floyd Landis and Alberto Contador, and they were both stripped of PED and doping use as well. And you got to think, with the Tour de France, they've been using that steroid type of stuff since the 1920s when it first started. So it's not like he was just being the only one who had the advantage. Everybody was on the same neutral field. And even with that, Lance Armstrong did something that no other cyclist did, and that was start a foundation to stop cancer and make people believe in the Live Strong Foundation. I used to buy the bracelets myself, and I used to support it. But what that did was it not only showed that he was a great cyclist, but a great person. Yeah. And I think you shouldn't really take away something that big and that much of an impact. And to all those people who had cancer and believed in him, they're not going to say, oh, he didn't win those 7 titles. They know he deserved it. So I'm going to say, why would you take away something that was played in a neutral field?
Okay. Jake?
You know, I'm going to go with what he said. You know, it's tough. It's a sad subject, but it is illegal. You know, you know what's right and wrong. It's illegal. You know, yes, it's been through the years and everything like that, but at this moment in age, it's with all the other sports getting caught with it, it's illegal. You can't do this. Now, kind of going what Uffy said again, it's to take away the medals, yes. To tarnish his reputation for everything he's done through the past, no. You have to let him, give him what he's done with the whole Live Strong company, everything he's done. He's worked so hard for everything he's done, you know, coming back, battling through cancer, as well as giving a lot of people hope, you know, hope that believe that they can fight as well, and people need to believe in that. So you know what? Take the titles away from him. Do not take away do not take away his legacy for everything he's accomplished.
Okay, Art.
I think that he should have been stripped of his titles. He cheated. At the end of the day, he cheated. We see it in all other sports that people that cheat need to be reprimanded, and I don't think he was reprimanded until the 7 were stripped. You know, I'm all for his Live Strong Foundation, but I think that, you know, we can't relate the two. You know, he's a great story that he came back from cancer and proved that he was a great cyclist, but he did it while cheating, and, you know, that's not a good role model. You know, and I wish that the Live Strong Foundation can still go on after this, but at the end of the day, he cheated, and he doesn't deserve those 7 titles.
Tom.
Yeah, I'm going to have to actually agree with Artie on this one. Like, I just don't feel that, yes, he worked very hard to get those 7 titles, but unfortunately, he did cheat, and especially take steroids during his career, in his cycling career. And I really respect Lance Armstrong for like coming back from cancer, trying to be a huge role model for people. And I still have many of his Live Strong bracelets at my house right now. But unfortunately, he did cheat, and to be not just get rid of what happened to him. The memory of it is just never going to go away. And I don't think, and I agree with Gio on the part where I don't think it should tarnish what he's done as a person. But for his career, it's got to happen because he did take steroids during his career, and he gave it to other athletes in order for them to be big as well. So, like, just what he done, I just don't think it's right to tarnish his career. But because it's what he did early in his career, you got to get rid of those 7 titles.
Now, Tom, you did mention that even though if you take away 7 titles, it's going to be remembered. So why would you, if he's going to be remembered forever no matter what, why would you take away the titles?
Let me rephrase it then. He's going to be remembered for a person who is, like, didn't do the right thing, and he's supposed to be a good role model for people everywhere around the world. He was voted best male athlete a couple times in the SB, so people know what this guy is like. And unfortunately, it just happened in his career. So, of course, people are not going to remember him for what he did, but if the evidence is right there that people are just not going to get their eyes off of when they take a look at this situation.
No, you guys are right. Unfortunate is a word. I actually have a lot of my own opinions on the subject that I'm going to keep to myself for the most part.
Respectable.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, all the monies that he raised, all the awareness, all the book, everyone who just, you know, decided to keep pushing because he was keep pushing, and you can't take that back. I mean, medals are just medals. And I think it's a broader subject than that. But all that aside, I'm going to give Art first, and Tom second, and then I'm going to give Gio third and Jake fourth. Now, moving on, it seems like there's an awful lot of parity in the AFC as a whole this year. I mean, no one besides the Texans really were able to jump out to the forefront and say, hey, look at me, until Aaron Rodgers shows up and throws 6 touchdowns in their own backyard on Monday Night Football, but that's besides the point. So, I mean, if you want to assume that the Texans are the #1 team in the AFC, you're free to do that. The question is, what's the second best team in the AFC, if not the Texans? Tom.
Okay, well, definitely, just by the way the records are, obviously the next two best teams in the AFC behind the Texans are going to be the Baltimore Ravens and the New England Patriots, just by their record. And for the rest of the AFC, they have a 3-3 record or under. I don't see many of those teams making a comeback. The one team I would look at is the Denver Broncos because it got Peyton Manning. Obviously, he's a good quarterback, but he's been inconsistent a little bit this year. He may be starting to peak a little bit, but I just don't see it. So I'm going for my second best team in the AFC. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots because I think Tom Brady is on steam to get better throughout the rest of the season. Wes Welker has the highest amount of receiving yards right now throughout the NFL, and a key member, Mio, on their defensive line leads the league with tackles right now. So I think that the team overall is intact really well. Their offense is going to get better. Of course, they did just beat the Jets, and the Jets did give them a big match. But unfortunately, it's just like not the way that the Patriots are going to go. They're going to get better. And despite their defensive struggles, I still see them going to be the second best team in the end in the AFC.
Oh, okay. Gio?
What? The Patriots? Who gave up a 10-point lead to a team that lost Santonio Holmes and Darrell Reeves for the season,
Tom
and have
Brady's-
no playmakers, and a 35-year-old quarterback who can't get it done anymore under pressure?
Excuse
Get
me.
out of here.
Excuse
I'm
me.
going with the Denver Broncos
No
for
way.
two reasons. One, Peyton Manning is still Peyton Manning. 14 touchdowns compared to 4 interceptions all year.
That's
Where is
insane. That's
no
insane.
inconsistency there? Along with Demaryius Thomas, he's made Demaryius Thomas look like a stud receiver.
So
Make
did
Eric
Tebow.
Decker look pretty good, even though he's not that great. Jacob Tammy's been irrelevant, but Wilson McKay's getting his carries, and that defense is still top 10 in the league. And with the AFC West, you got the Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs. You're playing those teams 2 times each this year. You think that the Broncos are going to lose to teams like that after they just defeated San Diego after getting a 25-point deficit cut down to 0? I'm going with Denver. There's no reason why the Patriots should even be in the conversation. I would go with Baltimore, but they lost Ray Lewis and Ladarius Webb for the year, so I can't go with them. I'm going with Denver.
Okay. Jake?
You know, those are both great teams, but you know what? I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last night, I saw something I never saw them do. Rush the ball. They've never rushed the ball that well. With John Dwyer, it looked like we had Jerome Bettis back in the backfield, and once again, with 127 yards. Ben Roethlisberger doing what he normally does best, throw the ball deep to Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace, and Heath Miller. That is a great thing right there. Sadly, their defense is a little slacking with Troy Polamalu out with injury, but you know what? Once he comes back, their defense is rock hard again. They're not going to take no for an answer. They have teams like the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. Both they can beat. The struggles is Baltimore Ravens in their division, but you know what? I feel like they're going to have no troubles with the way the defense is looking for the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers on this one.
Okay. Art?
I think you're all wrong. I think that the Ravens are the second best team, and you might call me crazy because they just got blown out by the Texans, but I just think the Texans are the best team by far in the AFC. You just look at the Ravens. Yes, they lost Ray Lewis. Yes, they lost Webb, but they just got T. Suggs back. We saw he was ready to go right off the bat, coming off that Achilles, which is crazy that he's already back. But Joe Flacco has proven that he's a good quarterback.
What did he do last game? He had the worst quarterback rating in the past 10 years.
It was against the Texans defense, which is the best in the NFL. I just think
that lost Brian Cushing to the year with the ACL injury.
I just think that the Texans are the best team by far, and you know Denver isn't that good. Tebow led that team. Peyton Manning can lead that team, but you know they're just not going to get over the hump for me. So I really think at the end of the year the Ravens will be the number 2 team in the AFC.
If I could say one more
Go
thing
for
there.
it.
Yes, I agree with you that Peyton Manning may not be the most inconsistent, like I said. Yes, he may have a
But he
higher
hasn't been consistent.
passer rating than Tom Brady. But one thing, I'm not saying Peyton Manning's not a strong leader. Tom Brady, though, is a player that has done this throughout his entire career. He has more Super Bowls than many of the other quarterbacks right
but the
now.
last 2 Super Bowls he was in, Eli Manning owned them. So, just saying.
I'm just saying, and Tom Brady, I think, has more of a stronger cast around him on the offensive side. Yes, the Broncos do have Willis McGahee, but their wide receivers are not comparable to the New England Patriots receivers. You got Wes Welker and Hernandez, who's going to come back strong from his injury.
He's already back.
He's already back. I know that. I'm saying that he's going to be much better cast right now for Tom Brady than Peyton Manning.
All you have to do is just put a blitz on Tom Brady. He can't throw the ball. You saw what he did against the Jets last game. You threw a wide receiver, not even a cornerback blitz on Tom Brady. You get him under pressure. He can't throw the ball at all. He's underthrowing people.
One game.
No, it's been done the past 3 to 4 seasons. Ever since Spygate ever occurred.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay, fellas. Well, I mean, I respect that you all have very different opinions on this subject. That's pretty neat. However, for right now, I am going to have to give it to Joe Flacco and the boys. I mean, record-wise and all that, until they actually start to crumble, I mean, you know,
Okay.
I'd say that they're the number 2 team. Then we're going to go out west with Peyton. I mean, I love what they're doing out there, just slinging it. And Big Ben's also slinging it. And we're going to give Patriots last. I mean, you know, all these close games, like, I don't know, just not the most consistent so far. Also, that means that it's time for an elimination, and I'm getting news from the back room that Jake is off. So you got anything to say, kiddo?
You know what? It's been my first time ever. Hey, I had fun with it doing it. I'm gonna welcome. I hope everyone does the best. You know, thank you for everything, and good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
Good luck,
Thank you.
Tom.
Thanks.
Great having you.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to take it to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Blitz.
Over here!
Did you know that the first person to fly faster than the speed of sound was Chuck Yeager back in 1947? No? I didn't think so.
It's fun to know history. Find curious facts from America's past at loc.gov, the Library of Congress website.
What do you get when you mix a chef, a plumber, and a policeman with an abandoned restaurant? A recipe for success. With the help of their local community coalition, these 3 brought in carpenters and electricians. They donated time and materials and helped turn that old restaurant into a family center. Now they're all building a better community, volunteering to help keep kids away from drugs. And that's the tastiest dish of all. Visit helpyourcommunity.org to see what your group can do, because you get more
when you get together.
Welcome back to Blitz. We're about to get into some college football talk here. I mean, I don't know. We got a couple of teams up in the top 5, top 7 that we need to find out who's going to be playing in that championship game in the BCS. So who do you guys got in your championship game? Gio?
Well, I'm going to go with Alabama and Kansas State. 2 reasons. 1, Alabama is, of course, the consensus number 1. They have one of the best offenses and defenses in the league for the first time in a very long time. But the reason why I'm going to go with Kansas State is because Florida is in the same SEC division as Alabama, so one of those 2 will have to play in a championship game if they keep at that level. And with Kansas State, number 3, and they got a weak schedule, they just beat West Virginia and Geno Smith, the Heisman candidate, led by Colin Klein. And they also beat Oklahoma with a weak schedule ending. So I'm going to go Alabama, Kansas State in the national championship.
Okay. Tom?
All right, well, definitely Alabama is one of my teams because A.J. McCarron, 16 touchdowns, 0 interceptions right now. Does just an unbelievable job on his part right now, keeping that offense stable. And Gio, of course, like you said, they do have one of the top best defenses in the league, second, I believe, in the nation right now. And also, my other team, I'm going to have to go with the Oregon Ducks because I like the way that they're playing right now. They've beaten several ranked teams already this season. And just coming out of the Pac-12, a conference that doesn't have a lot of edges to support. Yes, USC is there, and they are in the top 10 in the nation as well. But I just like what Oregon's done this season, so I'm going to go Alabama and Oregon for my BCS National Championship game.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go with Kansas State as well against Alabama, simply because the fact that Kansas State doesn't have that many tough games left. This weekend they played the number 14 Texas Tech Red Raiders, and that's about it. They play Texas the last game of the season, but Texas, as we've seen, is not a consistent team. So I think that Kansas State finishes the year undefeated, and I think that they will play Alabama. Oregon, I do not see getting through the Pac-12 unscathed. You got USC and Oregon State, and then you got to go to the inaugural Pac-12 championship game, play another top 10 opponent. So I don't see them winning those 3 big games. So I agree with Gio, Kansas State and Alabama.
All right. I'm actually a bit of a believer in the Ducks, so I'm going to give Tom first, and then I'm going to give Gio second and Art third. Now, the Sox have hired a new manager. They've hired Johnny Farrell, who was recently managing on the Blue Jays. I want you guys to tell me if he can actually right the ship in Boston and, you know, give them a better season than they had this past season. Tom?
Alrighty, well, I like the move that the Red Sox made hiring John Farrell as their new manager. He was their pitching coach from 2007 to 2010 when Terry Francona was still the manager. And the one thing that the Red Sox did not do in this past season with Bobby Valentine as their manager was that they did not pitch. They had the third worst ERA out of the entire American League. And what was he when he was with the Red Sox? Their pitching coach. So he's going to definitely improve their pitching. And he's established a huge relationship with players like Dustin Pedroia and John Lester on the pitching staff on the Red Sox. So many players on the Red Sox love him, and I think he's going to definitely ride the ship for the Red Sox. The only thing I see that might be a negative on his part, he hasn't been the best manager, especially in his 2 years with the Blue Jays. He had a 154 and 170 record, which may not look good on paper, but the way he's managed a team like the Blue Jays with all their youth, helping them come together as a team, I think he could definitely do that with the Red Sox and compete with the Yankees and the Orioles next season in the American League East.
Yes. Okay. Gio?
Simple Red Sox logic. Let's fire our manager right now and hire the manager who finished a term above us in third place. I think it's a bad move. First off, John Farrell was there before. Okay, I think the only person at this point that can really put the Red Sox back to where they used to be a few years ago was Colonel Sanders because they love chicken. But back to my point. He might have been the pitching coach for the Red Sox, and you were right. The Red Sox had one of the worst ERAs last season, Tom. But that's not going to change anything. Josh Beckett's gone to Los Angeles. John Lester can't find the strike zone. And John Lackey, your favorite pitcher for the Red Sox, is coming back. Everybody loves John Lackey's 6 ERA.
John Lackey's my drinking buddy.
Anyway, so even with the bullpen, there's so many questions. Once Papelbon left, the closer role just came so blown up with Mark Melancon and Alfredo Aceves. And not even with the pitching, the hitting has got a bunch of egotistical people like Justin Pedroia, David Ortiz, and Will Middlebrooks, who had a good season, but even with that, Jacoby Ellsbury getting angry at being a platoon player, it's just a recipe for disaster. I can't see this team winning more than 75 games next season.
What do you think, Art?
I think we're all failing to point out the obvious here. I think no manager could really turn around this Red Sox team this year. I think that it's the same core team as last year. You got rid of, it's not the same core team, but at the end of the year, they have the same team. They did not do anything after they made that huge mega trade to L.A. I just don't see the Red Sox competing with the roster that they have, regardless who your manager is. I do not see them competing too young, and I just think there's so many problems. I mean, there's no other way to put it. There's so many problems, and I think the media has just engulfed the team, and they can't do anything. So I think you could go and hire anyone, but I think that they're going to have another losing record, and it's going to be the 4th straight year that the Boston does not get a playoff home game.
And I was going to say one other thing. Also, in terms of the way the general management of the Red Sox has been going, Ben Cherington, yes, he is no Theo Epstein, who did such a pretty good job with the Red Sox when he won the 2 World Series championships. But they have the ability to sign free agents, and I think he will work hard in order to make the Red Sox better this season. So hiring John Farrell, who's been with the Red Sox, who knows a lot about the players, is step one. Now you got to get the other players to surround them, and I think they can compete with teams like the Yankees and the Orioles, and even the Rays if they get better this year too in the American League East. So I see a huge competition next season.
I think when they hired him, they were saying, Ben Cherington was saying, look, we might have made a mistake by throwing Terry Francona out. I think the only reason they threw him out was the whole chicken and beer. And I think that they wanted to go back to the closest thing that they could find to Terry Francona, and that is John Farrell.
Just one more small fact. He said Theo Epstein was a good manager.
I said general manager.
Good general manager. He signed Carlos Gonzalez, Adrian Gonzalez, and Carl Crawford. Where are they now? Are they in Los Angeles?
They did not.
Oh, good.
I'm saying they may not have had good Red Sox careers, but he did lead them to 2 World Series championships. That's the bottom line.
Theo Epstein
Ben Cherington is going to take over Theo's shoes and help this Red Sox team get better, because the Red Sox fans expect them to get better, and obviously it's going to happen, I think, with John Farrell at the helm. That's step one.
It is apparent to me that the Red Sox had more problems last year than just Bobby V. So all that taken into consideration, I'm actually going to give Art first, and Gio second, and Tom third. Now, well, this conversation always seems to come up every year. Everyone seems to think that their division in football is the hardest to play in, and everyone plays in the toughest division. I want you guys to actually tell me what is the real toughest division to play in the NFL. Gio.
I'm actually going to go with the NFC West. A few years ago, you all would have laughed at me when I said that, but now when you got the 49ers playing very well, especially last year, almost went to the Super Bowl, one Kyle Williams play away from there. And now Seattle's got a top 7 defense, pretty solid record. St. Louis, but they have a new head coach in Jeff Fisher, pretty good defense. Sam Bradford's finally getting production from Steven Jackson. And let's not forget about the Cardinals, who started off the year as one of the last undefeated teams. And although they have a bad quarterback controversy, Larry Fitzgerald has put the team on his back, and they might have found a running back to replace Ryan Williams and Beanie Willis and Hawkey. So I think overall this division is solid from top to bottom, and you can't really find a division where at least 1 or 2 teams is not as solid as all 4 the NFC West.
Okay. All right.
I think you can, Gio. The NFC North. You got the Bears, you got the Packers, and you've got the Vikings, and you have the Lions. The Lions have underachieved this year. We'll see tonight against the Bears, but you can't underestimate the Packers and the Bears. These are 2 amazing teams. Aaron Rodgers looks like, 2 weeks ago he didn't look like anything special. Before 2 weeks, now he's the best player in the NFL again. Yeah. He's the best player in the NFL, no doubt. And you really got to do the discount double check. Thanks for that, Gio. And the Lions are going to pick it up. The Lions are going to pick it up. I think from top to bottom, this is the best team, the best division by far.
Okay, Tom, bring us home.
Well, I'm actually going to have to disagree with both of you. I respect both divisions completely by me. But when I look at the NFC East, a team like with 4 teams who have all been doing really well. Eli Manning's led the Giants so far this season. And you got Tony Romo and Michael Vick. Yes, they may not have done their best work so far this season, but just like the way that they've been able to pull their team through some battles this year, and and let's not even forget RG3 as well. And the Redskins, yes, they're under 500 with a 3-4 record, but RG3 almost led the Redskins to victory. Yesterday against the New York Giants. And when you have 4 consistent quarterbacks and 4 defenses who play extremely well on certain situations, like against whoever team they're playing, I just think that it's a huge division, and that division every year can have a different winner, and I just see it as a huge competition.
It's so inconsistent, though.
The NFC is consistent quarterbacks. Michael Vick has more turnovers.
I will say the 49ers are good in your division, and the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packs are good in your division. But still, I like the 4 teams who have done it all throughout the years.
The Redskins have the worst pass defense in the league. Just saying.
Excuse me,
Mike Vick's on his way out.
Which division had the last Super Bowl champion? Ours.
Yeah, so, but we're talking division. We're not talking team. We're not talking team.
We're just
talking
division. But our division is very competitive, so that's all I'm saying.
Wait, why are you saying our?
My division.
Okay. Well, lots of different answers. I mean, I'm actually gonna start with 3 and work my way back to 1. I mean, the NFC is just it doesn't have an actual front runner, which is why these guys are gonna place 1st and 2nd. I mean, not only are these divisions competitive, but not every team is 3 and 3. There's 2 teams in each division that's actually kind of saying, "Hey, look at me! You don't want to play us." And,
exactly.
I mean, at the same time, they're kind of similar. I'm actually gonna give it. I would least like to play in the NFC West because of the defense. I mean, every team just has a solid defense, top to bottom. So Gio's gonna get 1st, and Art's gonna get 2nd. I mean, a couple of weeks the Lions actually win a couple games, and we might be sitting here saying something different. And they may be the front runner, or our hardest division to play in.
Yeah.
So Art gets 2nd, and Tom 3rd. And I'm also getting news that Tom is going to be taking an early leave. So anything to say?
I mean, had another fun time today. All you guys were great. And the ironic thing is, all 4 times I've been on here, I got 3rd place every single time. So so close to that final round, I could just smell it. So I'll try again next time.
Okie doke. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break here and be right back in the Ray and Mike's Shootout.
Horseradish. Is that for horses? Remember me, Mr. Lobster? From last Tuesday? No. Banana! Here comes the rain. We need a hat. And why do we need a hat? That's right.
When you talk with your child, you build vocabulary, and learning starts long before school does. For more tips, go to bornlearning.org.
哦，先生你好，歡迎光臨，等等先。誒，唔該晒。
Brandon.
Welcome back to Blitz. We've reached the final segment in our program for tonight. The Ray and Mike shootout. Fellas, shake hands. Super. Now, baseball isn't the only game we have tonight. There's a little bit of Monday Night Football, black and blue division, Bears, Lions. Who's going to win and why? Art?
I'm going to go with the Lions. I was talking earlier that they're going to turn it around, and I really do think they will. You might call me crazy, but I think that Jay Cutler is so inconsistent as well. I think Calvin Johnson's going to start picking it up. Matt Stafford just needs to hit him. Brandon Pettigrew. They just need to get their run game going, and they're going to be a force to reckon with. So I'm going to go with the Lions.
Gio?
I'm going to have to go with the Bears in this one for two simple reasons. One, the Chicago Bears defense has scored 5 defensive touchdowns in the past 3 games. And let's not forget the Lions are a very one-dimensional offense. They have no running game, while the Bears have Matt Forte and Michael Bush. Jay Cutler might be inconsistent, but at least they have a running game. Now, let's not forget about Calvin Johnson. I believe in the man curse. He's only got 1 touchdown this season. Teams are triple covering him. And when you got a top 5 defense like the Bears, they're going to put all the coverage on Johnson. And minus him, who are they going to throw to? I'm going with the Bears. The Bears.
Yeah, how about all those guys who drafted Megatron in the first round? I guess all those guys who went with Roddy White and Larry Fitzgerald had a little bit more, a little bit better too. Anyway, going to the question. I'm going to go with the Bears. I think the Bears are going to win tonight too. I mean, it's
just
true.
Had to back up my NFC North here.
And
that's all I had to do.
What's that other stat? Ndamukong Suh only has 2.5 sacks, I think, this year.
They're underachieving.
I think he leads the league in 3 heads stomped also.
They're underachieving. They're underachieving. They're supposed to come out at some point.
Yeah, could be tonight. Next question. Now, there's maybe not enough room in New York for 2 basketball teams. We're about to find out. The Brooklyn Nets have been moving in and having their preseason games out of the Barclays. I want you guys to tell me who is the best basketball team in New York City. Gio.
Well, this season, my decision depends on one player in general, and I think he will produce. I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets because of Joe Johnson. I think when the Nets brought in Joe Johnson, they knew he was going to get a solidified backcourt with Darren Williams, as well as getting a lot of key players like Teletovic to sign to a few deals, getting Chris Humphries back, and Brooke Lopez, Marshawn Brooks as well. The team's got a lot of bench poise. They have a good amount of players who can score off the bench. I can't forget about Crash, Gerald Wallace. I think if Joe Johnson and Darren Williams mesh very well together, which I think they will do, and Brooke Lopez averages more than 6 rebounds per game, I think the Nets might be a better team than the Knicks this season.
All right.
You're saying a lot of ifs there, Gio. I'm going to go with the Knicks. I think we saw at the end of last year they really started to figure this whole Amari Carmelo thing out. I think when you take Jeremy Lin away, there's one less person that you have to please. So I really do think, from top to bottom, I think that the Knicks are a better team, and they have that huge score. My problem with the Nets is, will Joe Johnson have a good year? I just don't know. I don't know if he can coexist with anyone. He didn't have to coexist with anyone in Atlanta. So will he get his touches? You know, it's hard to balance that Deron Williams and Joe Johnson tandem. So I'm going to go with the Knicks.
I mean, can't ever count Melo out. I'm also going to go with the Knicks. Artie, you're going to get the point. And one more question. Now, all the talk of the Lakers, people might forget that the Heat are actually still defending champions somehow.
No big deal.
I know, right? I want you guys to tell me if they're still your favorite to repeat. Or if they are your favorite to repeat, I suppose. Art?
I think you cannot count LeBron James out of anything. I think that he is the reigning champion now. I think a huge weight is off his shoulders, and I think he'll only continue to get better. I think that we just saw in the Olympics also after that, he had a triple-double in the Olympics, which is almost unheard of. And I think they made their team so much deeper. That was the problem with the team last year, and they still got it done. You add Rashard Lewis and Ray Allen to the mix, that opens up the court. I just think that they are the team to beat still until the Lakers can prove that they can make three huge players all work together. I don't know if Kobe's going to be able to, he is the person that needs the touches the most. He'll complain about it. He'll complain about it if it does not happen. So I think that we have to be wary of that at first. But I really do think LeBron's just going to have an unbelievable season.
Okay. Gia?
I'm going to agree with Artie, but I'm going to go with different reasons. The first one is, you're right about LeBron James. He is an athletic freak, posting a triple-double in the Olympics. But I think with their main problem was finding a big man. Now, although they moved Chris Bosh to center, not really a big guy, that opens up the floor for possibly Ray Allen or Rashard Lewis, newly acquired free agents, to start. And Chris Bosh did pretty well in the paint last season, pretty productive. And another reason why I'm going with the Heat is because the East has really nobody that's a solid pick. The Celtics are very old, very stingy. I can't trust Jason Terry. With the Pacers, they're a very young team up on the rise. Same with the 76ers, but you can't depend on Andrew Bynum the whole entire time with his knees. And the Knicks, they're a retirement home on the bench. A lot of old people. I can't go with them. Now for the Lakers. What you saw with the Heat last year, their first year as a team, they lost to Dallas Mavericks because they didn't have chemistry. And I think if you do bring in Dwight Howard and Steve Nash, it's a good thing to do. It's a good idea, but the problem is there's no chemistry. Kobe Bryant's turning 35 years old, and Metta World Peace is still elbowing people. So I think with that said, the Heat have a better chance to win the finals and repeat because they have more years together and they have more sharpshooters off the bench.
Although we shouldn't confuse a 36, 35-year-old Kobe with a maybe 26, 27, 28-year-old Kobe, I do not think that switching Chris Bosh to center is necessarily the answer. Not that that alone is supposed to be. So, Art, you're going to be today's champion. Got anything to say?
I'd like to thank Tom for coming on the show tonight. He's a great roommate. Absolutely love him to death. So I'm so thankful that I got to go against him tonight. I really think that he's just going to come back in the next couple weeks and win a show. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to come on here and talk about my great roommate, Tom Albanese.
What a bromance.
That's super. All right, well, that just about does it for this week's episode of Bobcat Blitz. And you can go out and watch the Cards-Giants or Monday Night Football, but we all here would like to ask you to take a minute and maybe watch the playback from the debate, the presidential debate that's also in a couple hours, if you don't choose to do so tonight. From your folks here at Bobcat Blitz, see you next week.
Go Obama.